didn't have a great day. Also, Najee Harris as well. The Steelers not doing a whole lot with offense.
Dude, he probably, other than Kyle Pitts, he's the biggest non-injury fantasy disappointment so far this year. One game with 75 or more scrimmage yards this season. He's had 2 different games under 40 yards. He actually played fewer offensive snaps in this one than Jaylen Warren. He played 37 to 38 for Warren. He's played 80% of the offensive snaps just once so far this season. And, they can't block anyone. And part of the problem is I'm willing to write this off on a little level just because they got blown out. And they're trying to do different things, and the offense is going to take some time to adjust to Kenny Pickett under center. But if you look at their upcoming schedule, home to Tampa Bay, at Miami, at Philadelphia, home to New Orleans. Those are 4 defenses that are hard to run against.
Better.
It's not getting better.
2 things for me with Najee Harris that neither are good. One, Kenny Pickett's not targeting him. I think he has 4 targets in the 6 quarters he's played with Pickett. Najee Harris, when you draft him, you expect him to be a target machine. Second thing, he averaged less than a yard before contact. When he gets the ball handed to him, he gets hit. It's not good.
Yeah, I don't know what you can do about it. If somebody's willing to give you top 20 running back value for him, you might be like, oh, I'm selling low on Najee Harris. But if somebody's still willing to pay for name value here, but to me, I think you've got to downgrade him now to touchdown dependent flex.
Right.
This is.
You just got to hope someone in your fantasy league's not paying attention.
Yeah, I mean, he's still got name value. He's still getting a decent amount of work here, but I don't see it's not one of those games where I'm just like, don't worry about it, it's going to get better, because I don't know that it's going to get a lot better. It'll be better than 6.6 fantasy points, but not a lot better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right.
Connor, do you think it'll get any better for James Robinson?
A little bit of a roller coaster because he's got to face the Bucs next week. I don't love that. But then you go to Miami, who the Jets just ran all over at will. Miami didn't tackle or stop the run. So James Robinson, he's not going to be as bad as less than 6 fantasy points that he had this week. The snaps are not going to trend all the way downward, even though they did a little bit behind Travis Etienne this week. So James Robinson will be fine in the long run, but he's got a couple bad matchups ahead.
Okay, Christian Kirk, though, Matthew Berry.
Off the one thing on Robinson, I'm with you there. I think it is interesting to see Etienne get more snaps than James Robinson in this one. So Peterson said after the game that they want to get Etienne more involved. I think Robinson's still locked in as a top 20 play. To your point, just tough matchup against the Jags. He was also on the love list. That one did not work out for me. But just keep an eye on Etienne's usage here as well.
Okay, so sticking with the Jags, Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
Not a good day at all. Do you see him bouncing back from this?
I do. Listen, I'm in on Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk to me is a buy low, right? For me, the fact of the matter is 1 for 11. I get it. It was definitely a tough game for him, but he ran the most routes by a Jaguars wide receiver in Week 5, right? And this is a guy that had 6 or more catches or 70 more yards in his first 3 games. Tough game where the Jaguars offense couldn't get anything going against Houston, which better than they get credit for defense. And then last week in the slop in the rain against Philadelphia. So I'm not ready to write off Christian Kirk. I actually think he's a buy low. Colts are next up for the Jags, then the Giants, the Broncos, and I'm actually, and then the Colts again, I think. So I think Christian Kirk is a buy low. I'm willing to chalk this up as a bad day at the office.
Another bad day at the office, Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, a fluky week. I mean, Skylar Thompson had to play. He can't throw outside the numbers. If you watch the game, you could see that right away. And Tua's going to be back soon enough, or Teddy. He's got Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Detroit, Chicago coming up. If you could buy low on Jalen Waddle, which I doubt you can, but if somebody in the league really does offer that opportunity, do it right now.
Right. We know that Tyreek Hill was in a walking boot after the game. We're not sure on his status at this moment.
Doesn't seem serious, but either way, Jalen Waddle is going to be, nervous, right? He's had 4 less receptions in 4 or 5 games so far this season. He needs a big play, but he's been able to get them, and we think more often than not that Dolphins offense is going to produce them. Hopefully Tua or Bridgewater are back sooner rather than later. They play the Vikings this week, which I think, that's a defense that you can throw on.
All right, so Matthew, with A.J. Brown, only 6.2 fantasy points. He didn't start. Usage was a little bit different this week. What was going on?
They didn't need to. I mean, they were crushing him on the ground in that particular game, and so listen, the Cardinals did a nice job here But Jalen Hurts, they found other ways to win that game. I'm not worried at all about A.J. Brown. It was his first game this season with less than 5 receptions. He still got 7 targets in this game. I'm chalking this up to, once again, just a bad day at the office. Like, there's some where you're like with Najee Harris, as we talked about, where you're a little nervous, but I'm not nervous about A.J. Brown. If somebody's nervous and panicking after week 1, try to get him.
Okay, so Connor, though, nervous.
And by the way, they play the Cowboys next week right here on NBC, Sunday Night Football, NBC Peacock Company Man. If A.J. Brown has 2 bad games in a row, I would absolutely try to buy low because Dallas has a really good confidence.
That's a great game. Cannot wait to watch that. But Rams running backs, they suffered. Cam Akers, 13 carries for 33 yards, 0 carries for Henderson.
Yeah, I think it's so easy to get caught up in the Akers versus Henderson debate, and I think we're now at the point where we have to accept the Rams' offense stinks and that neither of them are productive. Their line is bad. Stafford doesn't look good, and you're getting nothing from their running backs or their offense as a whole. So the Akers-Henderson debate has now completely dissolved into stay away from this offense.
Yeah, that's right. The answer to do I want Akers or Henderson, and the answer is neither.
No.
Neither. Yeah. There's no more debate.
Sorry you drafted them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because that offensive line is just getting. I mean, they really miss Andrew Whitworth. That offensive line is awful, and they just can't get anything going. JSP.
All right. Well, we're going to get things going with the last call when we return on Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry, Connor Rogers, JSP here. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and RotoWorld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from RotoWorld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.